Live in Times Square, this is Good Morning America.
We begin with the turmoil on college campuses around the country. More protests amid the Israel-Hamas war. More arrests were made overnight at universities like Dartmouth and Fordham here in New York and in California. There are questions about the police response to the violent clashes there. Trevor Ault is there on the UCLA campus. Trevor, what's happening right now?
Good morning, George. So what you're looking at here is the remains of the encampment at UCLA. This is all that is left after several intense hours overnight where we saw hundreds of law enforcement officers swarm in and essentially restrict it. So if you look over my shoulder here, you see all of those barricades, the plywood that was set up along the edge of the encampment. That was basically tossed aside by law enforcement as they moved in, and then they restricted all of these demonstrators, kind of pushed them back. They were at Royce Hall. They pushed them all the way up against the library here, and then we watched as they took them away in custody one by one in zip ties. Now, the protesters have said from the beginning they did not have weapons. They largely did not resist, but they also didn't give themselves up. They stood arm in arm for the most part, pushed up against here, and then finally, when they had nowhere else to go, taken into custody. It was some of the most intense hours that we have seen play out in what has been a nationwide movement with campuses and encampments happening all over the country, and we're watching as this continues to play out across America.
This morning, at least 50 arrested during a police operation clearing the protest encampment at UCLA. This massive police presence moving in early this morning, dismantling the encampment here. The LAPD declaring a citywide tactical alert as California Highway Patrol officers in riot gear responded to the crowds, pushing back against students using batons.
We planned to keep this encampment until the university agreed to our demands.
The protesters eventually moving to the front of Powell Library, linking arms, refusing to budge, eventually taken away in zip ties one by one. It comes just one night after that pro-Palestinian encampment came under attack by pro-Israel activists. The lack of police action that night since called into question. University police responding to the criticism, saying the campus leadership, not law enforcement, owns the results of their decisions. Classes at the school now canceled. In Oregon, at Portland State University, protesters barricading themselves inside the library since Monday. Despite the school telling them to leave immediately, food and bedding was seen being delivered. At the University of New Hampshire in Durham, pro-Palestinian protesters clashing with police in riot gear. While at Dartmouth College, police arresting 90 protesters after an order to leave an encampment. Violent clashes breaking out at the University of Wisconsin in Madison. 4 officers injured, dozens of pro-Palestinian protesters arrested. The dean of students escorted by police as she walked through the mall after encampments were taken down. Protesters taking to the streets of New York City. The NYPD arresting nearly 300 demonstrators across the city. Police clearing out an indoor encampment at Fordham University.
If you refuse to leave, you may be placed under arrest.
Officers ordering protesters to disperse immediately, arresting at least 15 people. Some Republicans now calling out President Biden to use the National Guard to dismantle encampments. Biden has yet to address the recent confrontations on campuses.
So what we're hearing from law enforcement on the ground here is that at least 132 people were arrested here at this encampment. It's likely that number is going to grow even higher here. It happened, the police coming in almost exactly 1 week as to when this encampment was formed, and it was certainly not the first intense moments that we saw play out here at UCLA. Just 2 nights ago, there were some violent altercations between the pro-Palestinian demonstrators here and some pro-Israeli counter-protesters. We saw some of those counter-protesters come up, try to rip away the barricades. The protesters pushed back against that, and then there was also some criticism of the law enforcement response then because it did take them a couple hours before they move in. Now, this is UCLA's campus. The LAPD, the CHP, they don't necessarily have jurisdiction. They have to wait for the university to request mutual aid. Sources from the LAPD said that request didn't come in until a couple hours after that skirmish, but the university said they requested mutual aid right away. We watched this law enforcement action play out over the course of several hours tonight. There were some flashbangs that were fired overhead, but it did seem to appear like all those arrests were happening without anyone seriously injured.
Overseas now to the negotiations over a possible ceasefire and the release of hostages. Hamas is pushing back on Israel's latest offer, but not walking away from the talks. Foreign correspondent Tom Soufi-Burge is on the scene in Israel. Good morning, Tom.
Good morning, George. The fate of the hostages and more than 1 million civilians in southern Gaza now hanging in the balance. A Hamas leader saying Hamas's position on that high-stakes US-brokered ceasefire and hostage deal is negative, but adding Hamas is still studying the proposal and negotiations could continue. Israel offering an initial 6-week pause in the fighting and the release of Palestinian prisoners in exchange for 33 hostages. Secretary of State Blinken saying Israel has made important compromises, urging Hamas to accept the deal, adding there is no time for further haggling. Blinken and Netanyahu meeting Wednesday for 2.5 hours, with Blinken reiterating US opposition to an Israeli military ground operation into Rafah in southern Gaza, where more than 1 million Palestinians are sheltering. Israel doubling down, saying it will root out Hamas's remaining battalions in Rafah with or without a deal. The US warning peace in this entire region is at stake, and we are still waiting for Hamas's official response to that proposed ceasefire deal, with Israel's war cabinet expected to meet tonight. Janae?
All right, Tom, thank you for that. We turn now back here at home to the nearly 100 severe weather reports from Texas to Nebraska and 16 tornado reports. Ginger's here tracking it all. Ginger, good morning. Hey. You told us that this was going to happen.
Yeah, unfortunately, it's just been day after day of these threats, and they keep verifying. So 16 reported, one of them in Turkey, Texas, which is in the Panhandle. Thankfully, these were a bit more rural, so we didn't see as much damage from them. But the landspout there also in Fort Stockton, Texas, you can see that all the way up to the sky. They form very differently, but they can also do some damage, even though they're most of the time weaker. Here's what you need to know this morning. Flash flood alerts around Waco, south of Lufkin. You've got Shreveport to Alexandria. This is 2 to 5 inches, and some places more than a half foot that'll fall. We'll see more storms today. Abilene's in there, Wichita Falls as well, down to nearly San Angelo. And y'all, we had such a remarkable April when it comes to tornadoes, second most on record since those records started in 1950. Wow. But May is the month to watch. You see that graphic and you say May climatologically sticks out, George.
We know you'll be watching. Okay, Ginger, thanks. Latest now on Donald Trump, repeating lies about the 2020 election and refusing to commit to accept the results if he loses again in 2024. Chief Washington correspondent John Carl has the story. Good morning, John.
Good morning, George. And a reminder of what happened in 2020, Donald Trump is once again refusing to say whether he will accept the results of the presidential election, and he is suggesting there could be violence if he loses. Donald Trump is making it clear he is only ready to accept the results of the election if he likes them, telling the Milwaukee Journal, quote, "If everything's honest, I'll gladly accept the results. I don't change on that. If it's not, you have to fight for the right of the country." In another recent interview, Trump dismissed the threat of violence by his supporters, saying, quote, "I think we're going to have a big victory, and I think there will be no violence." He suggested the lack of violence depends on who wins. "I don't think we're going to have that. I think we're going to win." But he added, "And if we don't win, it depends. It always depends on the fairness of an election." And in a speech overnight in Michigan, Trump recounted how he did, in fact, ask the Secret Service to take him to the Capitol on January 6th. In an interview not long after the attack on the Capitol, Trump told me that if he had gone during the riot, he would have been well received.
I was thinking about going back during the problem to stop the problem, doing it myself. Secret Service didn't like that idea too much. I could have done that, and you know what? I would have been very well received.
Trump's comments about the possibility of violence echo something that his former chief strategist, Steve Bannon, told me as Trump was preparing for this presidential run. I asked Bannon if he was worried about violence, and he told me no, because we're going to win. George?
John, just to underscore, this is not an isolated incident. This is a constant on the campaign trail for Donald Trump right now.
Absolutely. He has repeatedly refused to say that he would accept the results, and there's always this possibility of violence that floats in the background of what he is saying.
John Carl, thanks very much. Donald Trump's criminal trial set to resume this morning in Manhattan. Former president again faces accusations that he violated the judge's gag order. Aaron Katursky is at the courthouse. Good morning, Aaron.
Good morning, George. Before the jury hears any testimony here today, the judge will consider whether to hold Trump in contempt again. Prosecutors say 4 of Trump's recent statements outside of court, a hallway here on the campaign trail or in an interview with our station WPVI, ran afoul of the gag order prohibiting swipes, verbal swipes at witnesses and the jury. The last time we had one of these hearings, when Trump's attorneys argued his statements were permissible, the judge told them you're losing all credibility with the court, and he fined Trump $9,000. Today, Trump's defense is going to have the chance to cross-examine Keith Davidson, the attorney who brokered the $130,000 hush payment to adult film actress Stormy Daniels. The defense has said that payment was meant to protect Trump's family from an embarrassing story. But Davidson wit has testified that the only reason Trump wanted to silence Daniels was because the Access Hollywood tape had come out and his campaign couldn't take another sex scandal. Whit?
All right, Aaron Katursky for us, thank you. And former President Donald Trump also weighed in on the battle over abortion and defending his support of state-based restrictions as Florida's 6-week ban takes effect and Arizona lawmakers vote to repeal their strict Civil War-era ban. Rachel Scott is in Detroit this morning with the latest. Rachel, good morning.
Hey, Whit, good morning to you. Donald Trump has been focused on his criminal trial. It's the first time that we've seen him out on the campaign trail in weeks. He's really tried to put this issue of abortion to rest. But Democrats not only seizing on his recent comments, but also his record appointing 3 of the 5 Supreme Court justices that overturned Roe.
For the first time since his criminal trial began, Donald Trump returned to the campaign trail, forced to defend his record on an issue that could define this election: abortion.
Now I say, it's up to the state. They'll ask me a question about, I say that's up to the state. So I say to you, I think we did a very good job on that. A lot of people are very happy with it.
Trump standing by his comments that he won't object if states monitor pregnant women to make sure they comply with abortion bans or prosecute women who violate them. The former president often brags about appointing 3 of the Supreme Court justices who overturned Roe versus Wade, clearing the way for 21 states to severely restrict access to abortion. But now, sensing political vulnerability, Trump is warning Republicans not to go too far.
You have to have what your heart determines, and you have to fight for what's in your heart and what's the right thing to do. But remember, you also have to get elected.
Both the Trump and Biden campaigns are well aware abortion rights has won in every state where it has appeared on the ballot. Vice President Kamala Harris visiting Florida just hours after the state enacted a 6-week ban, placing the blame on Trump.
As of this morning, 4 million women in this state woke up with fewer reproductive freedoms than they had last night. This is the new reality under a Trump abortion ban.
Virtually every state in the South has now banned or restricted abortion. Dr. Shelley Tien telling our Selena Wang it will have a devastating impact.
To not be able to provide that care that we are trained to provide for patients is really, it's terrible, it's horrible.
Now some states are reversing course under growing public pressure. Arizona lawmakers, including 2 Republican state senators, voting to repeal an 1864 near-total abortion ban, passed a half-century before women had the right to vote.
Abortion rights could be on the ballot in as many as 13 states this November, including right there in Arizona and Florida, where voters could ultimately have the final say either way, Janae.
Certainly will be one that we're watching. Rachel, thanks for that. Now to a possible school shooting thwarted in Wisconsin. Police taking down a 14-year-old boy with what appeared to be a rifle before he was able to get inside the middle school. Chief Justice correspondent Pierre Thomas is in Washington with the details. Good morning, Pierre. The kid was just 14.
Janae, good morning. This story is tragic on so many levels. Police suggesting they had no choice but to kill one of their own children. The suspect was a student from the area. This morning, the small town of Mount Horeb, Wisconsin, feeling traumatized as parents reflect on a day of frayed nerves and utter fear.
Somebody said run, they ran. I just wanted to hold them tight and not let them go.
Charity McCarthy had an 8th grader at the middle school where reports of an active shooter unfolded late Wednesday morning.
Reports of shots fired at the school.
Sources telling ABC News police encountered a 14-year-old boy with what appeared to be a rifle outside of the school.
While it was happening, we just sat in the corner.
The boy was killed in the confrontation, the incident forcing the school to lockdown. Police and panicked parents raced to get there.
So there is one injury. It's going to be the suspect.
The late evening press conference, officials confirming the suspect, the boy killed, was a local student.
This type of incident is any parent's nightmare.
Images all too familiar. Nervous parents waiting, SWAT teams, emergency vehicles.
I just got him. Yes, I've been waiting for the last 5.5 hours.
Police declined to offer any details on the circumstances of the shooting and the exact type of weapon involved. So many unanswered questions, but a town grateful that no one else was injured. Guys.
Something to be grateful for there. All right, Pierre, thank you. So coming up here, this one's got everyone talking. The viral post raising questions about leaving tips and whether you should do your own math.
Plus, how the hit show Baby Reindeer has turned fans into internet sleuths.
And the Massachusetts woman on trial charged with murdering her police officer boyfriend, but she claims she was framed. We're live at the courthouse in Boston. But first, let's go back to Ginger.
Yes, and Philadelphia has been living in summer weather all week. Today could tie another record or even break it. They'll get into the upper 80s for highs, and they are not alone. Washington, D.C., down to Raleigh. They're talking about heat all the way through next week, like breaking records for a whole week next week in the South. But look at some of those numbers. We have had that backdoor cool front that has kept others slightly cooler, like Boston at 67 today. But the trend for the following couple of weeks, it's warmer.
We've got a special surprise in Philly, our Rise and Shine in Atlanta, and Brooke Shields live.
Hey, I'm Andy Mitchell, a New York Times bestselling author.
And I'm Sabrina Kohlberg, a morning television producer. We're moms of toddlers and best friends of 20 years.
And we both love to talk about being parents, yes, but also pop culture.
So we're combining our two interests by talking to celebrities, writers, and fellow scholars of TV and movies.
Cinema, really.
About what we all can learn from the fictional moms we love to watch.
From ABC Audio and Good Morning America, Pop Culture Moms is out now wherever you listen to podcasts. Step into the world of Hollywood like never before with Melissa Rivers' Group Text podcast. Melissa, renowned for her red carpet expertise and storytelling prowess, invites you to join her and her famous friends for hilarious and heartfelt conversations. From discussing the latest binge-worthy TV shows, navigating the highs and lows of life, and dissecting celebrity fashion, there is never a dull moment. With exclusive stories from special guests like Chelsea Handler, Cheryl Hines, your favorite reality stars, and deep dives into intriguing topics like the Where is Wendy Williams documentary, this podcast offers an insider's look into the glitz and glam of Tinseltown. It's not just Melissa's podcast. It's a collective experience where you're invited to join the conversation. So if you've ever wanted a peek behind the Hollywood curtain, subscribe to Melissa Rivers' Group Text podcast, now on your favorite platform. Get ready for laughter, tears, gossip. In other words, unforgettable moments that'll keep you coming back for more. Don't miss out. This is one group text you won't want to exit.
Okay, you're looking live at the scene at the UCLA campus right now. Protest unions like this across the country are not backing down at all. I want to go back to Trevor Ault, who is there in California. Good morning, Trevor.
Good morning again, George. So these were some of the most intense hours that we have seen since this nationwide movement of university encampments has first broken out. This is UCLA right outside of Royce Hall. You see all of the tents, the hundreds of people who've been staying here for a full week. All of them cleared out this morning, and what we've heard from law enforcement is that 132 people and counting, that number's probably going to go higher, have been arrested, taken away in zip ties one by one. So they were all across this encampment here. They had essentially barricaded themselves in at the edge, and that was some metal barricades, there was some plywood boards. Last night at 6 p.m., law enforcement declared this an unlawful gathering. They said that everybody who stayed was violating the law, would be taken into custody. Then overnight, law enforcement brought in hundreds of people. At times they approached, they went back, they formulated a strategy, and up until about 3 o'clock this morning when it got really intense. We saw law enforcement firing flashbangs over the crowd repeatedly. It was very disorienting. There were some officers who had less than lethal rounds that they would fire as they got close. You see in the background there all the barricades, the plywood. They basically pulled that apart, the edges of the encampment one by one, until they were face to face with these demonstrators who were locked arm in arm. Now, the demonstrators said from the beginning that they weren't going to have any weapons, that they weren't even going to fight back, but it also doesn't mean that they were going to give themselves up, and they really didn't until they ran out of options. What essentially happened is law enforcement kind of cut across with the building, pushed it in, and restricted them as they pushed them back, and they surrounded them a little bit so that these demonstrators who were trying to hold the line, they were basically spread too thin. Eventually, they pushed them back up against the library here till it was a single file line. They were arm in arm. They broke them apart one by one, put them into zip ties, and then took them away individually. Now, these demonstrators, for the most part, held that line up until the very final moments. And as they were being walked out, basically all of them were steadfast. They did not seem to be surprised that they were being taken away. But this had been a full week where they had been here. And they also were prepared for this eventual confrontation with law enforcement. A bunch of them had hard hats on. A bunch of them had gas masks on. A bunch of them had protective eyewear too. They had been supplies that had been brought in. And now that the encampment is over, it certainly doesn't mean that the demonstrations are completely over. So over here, actually, you can still see with this law enforcement presence here, they're on the edge. They barricaded this area where the encampment is. There are protests on the other side of it, people who supported these demonstrators that are still championing these causes as this continues to move forward. Certainly not the end of it here at UCLA or across the country. George.
Okay, Trevor, thanks very much. We're going to turn now to the travel of Massachusetts woman accused of murdering her boyfriend, a Boston police officer, by running him over with her car. Attorneys for Karen Reed say she was framed. Faith Booby is in Dedham, Massachusetts. Good morning, Faith.
Hey, good morning to you, George. Testimony resumes here in just a matter of hours. The murder mystery just outside of Boston sparking some explosive accusations against law enforcement. But the prosecution says the evidence points to just one person, Karen Reed, who they say killed her police officer boyfriend in cold blood.
This morning, a contentious murder case captivating and dividing a suburb of Boston. Karen Reed on trial, charged with killing her police officer boyfriend. But she claims it was all a cover-up. Reed's supporters seen outside Norfolk Superior Court dressed in pink, claiming the 44-year-old is innocent. But prosecutors say all evidence point to a relationship gone wrong, alleging that after a heated argument and a night of drinking in January 2022, Reed ran over her boyfriend, former Boston police officer John O'Keefe, with her SUV and left him to die in the snow in front of a fellow officer's house, adding that they found pieces of Reed's broken taillight at the scene.
That the defendant, Karen Reed, is guilty of murder in the second degree.
But the defense says Reed is the victim of shoddy police investigation and a deep cover-up, claiming hours before O'Keefe's death, Reed dropped him off at the officer's house, and there he was beaten and killed.
Karen Reed was framed. Her car never struck John O'Keefe. She did not cause his death, and that means that somebody else did.
Reed previously telling ABC's Matt Gutman she believes she was framed.
You're alleging that law enforcement officials in the state committed murder and that they're covering it up. Why would they want to be involved in this?
Because he's dead. I think things went too far. It was late. There was alcohol involved, but they're all family. And there's many of them involved.
Dash camera video played in court showing officers and Reed both responding to the scene. Reed seen frantically running around. An officer testifying that she said this was all her fault.
She kept saying, this is all my fault. This is my fault. I did this.
The defense pushing back.
But nowhere in your official report did you say that.
That's correct.
And nowhere in your interview with Trooper Proctor the next day did you say that.
That's correct.
You think that was a pretty important omission on your part?
It was an oversight.
Reed maintains she's innocent.
And Reed faces up to life in prison if she's convicted. It's not clear at this point whether she plans to take the witness stand in her own defense. But, Janae, this could be a lengthy trial. There are 87 names on the official witness list just for the prosecution. Janae.
A really interesting case there, Faith. Thank you. Now to what could be a tipping point in the debate over gratuities. A viral video about one customer's experience raising questions about how much to tip. Our chief business correspondent, Rebecca Jarvis, is here with the details. This video, Rebecca, it makes you think.
Oh, yeah. These are the deep questions we all need to ponder, Janae. Great to see you guys. And this one's got everyone talking because of this Instagram post. It's really making the rounds. Mark O'Brien shared his experience when he tried to leave a tip based on a restaurant's suggested tipping guidelines. You know, those standard numbers a restaurant offers you at checkout. Well, something wasn't adding up there. Take a look.
18% of $27 is not $6. 18% of $27 is not $7. 20% is not $8.
You don't have to be a math genius to see that. The fuzzy math prompting thousands of comments like, restaurants need to pay their employees, not us. Another person writing, tipping is out of control. The payment device in the video says it calculates the tip after taxes and before discounts. The restaurant told us Mark received a discount for an entree he sent back. While he wasn't charged for the cost, it was included in the tip calculation. The restaurant telling us, this is not a scam. We have a disclaimer that alerts guests that the tip is calculated before discounts. We also allow for a customer tip for guest convenience. And according to Mark, that wasn't really made clear to him. Do we really read the fine print on these things? But of course, this has prompted a whole debate about tipping culture. So guys, tip, what do you think? What do you guys do?
I don't like the math, that's for sure.
100% I'm with you. I don't, whatever that thing said 25% was, I would have paid it.
Yeah.
George does the math.
I did do,
Really?
I'm not sure the restaurant's entirely wrong.
Okay,
Yeah, no,
all right.
I'm not judging the restaurant here or Mark in this case. For me, it's like, how much eye contact am I getting at that time of the tip at the kiosk?
Exactly, yeah.
I'm going to go up a little bit.
I should say, I think restaurants should pay
Yes.
a living wage.
Yes.
I applaud the restaurants that add up the bills and have no tipping at all, but I also think it's important to tip because these people are working hard.
100%.
Absolutely.
Yes.
And you know, I did a little history lesson. In the 1960s, a law was passed here so that tips could account for more of people's paychecks. So you are really helping people on that paycheck by giving the tip. And, you know, good service, recognize
As a former
it.
Olive Garden waiter, amen to that. Yes.
I was a waiter all through high school and college.
Absolutely, yep. All right, thank you, Rebecca.
Thanks,
Appreciate it. Coming up next here, the firestorm over the hit new show Baby Reindeer. Fans trying to track down the real-life people it's allegedly based on. Back now with the hit show Baby Reindeer. The creator says it's based on his real-life experience with a stalker. Now fans are trying to find the real people behind the story. Eva Pilgrim has the report.
You say this woman's stalking you?
Yeah, like 6 months maybe.
Why'd it take you so long to report it?
I think she needs help. She comes to my work, my house.
This morning, Baby Reindeer, the show about a man's relationship with a female stalker, hitting #1 on Netflix with 22 million views in just 1 week.
There's a reason you're keeping her around, and maybe it's what she gives you.
And now the show's real-life drama causing a commotion on social media.
Can we talk about Baby Reindeers?
I'm too traumatized for this.
The series creator and star Richard Gadd says the show is based on his real-life experience with an alleged stalker. The London comic saying a woman sent him more than 41,000 emails, left 350 hours of voicemails, and mailed more than 100 pages of letters over several years.
Martha, can you let go of my hand now, please? Martha, please let go.
Don't you dare! Also part of the show, Gadd's character, Donnie, is groomed and later sexually assaulted by a TV writer.
Somebody hurt you?
Now, some viewers turned internet sleuths are on the hunt to figure out the real people behind the characters.
There's just been a new rise of people trying to find out and uncover the real life identities of these characters. This show about stalkers, it's turned its own fans into stalkers.
The Daily Mail tracking down a woman they claim is the alleged female stalker that inspired the show, but not identifying her. The woman reportedly saying, "I'm the victim. He's written a bloody show about me." A UK actor, writer, and director saying he's been defamed by people believing he may have inspired a character who was accused in the show of sexual assault, posting on social media that police have been informed and are investigating all defamatory, abusive, and threatening posts against me. Gadd taking to social media pleading with fans to stop the sleuthing, writing, "People I love, have worked with, and admire are unfairly getting caught up in speculation. Please don't speculate on who any of the real-life people could be. That's not the point of our show."
And here's the thing, while the series is based on some real-life events, Gadd has said it's not the exact truth for both legal and artistic reasons, going on to say you have to change things to protect yourself and protect other people.
Yeah.
So keep that in mind.
Plenty of cringeworthy moments in that show.
Yeah,
that is for
everyone
sure.
is talking about it right now.
Yeah. Thank you, Eva. Appreciate it.
Will Reeve in Philly for our play of the day. Will, I saw you coaching your team there during the commercial break.
I did. These are all Sixers fans here, George. I had to admit that I am a Knicks fan, but we're all about the Sixers right now. We're going to get into it. I'm here with Kareem Rutledge and Zach Jones, and we're outside the Wells Fargo Center where Game 6 is happening tonight. Going to be a huge game. Kareem, I wanted to talk to you first. You've been through a tough time recently. You took a bad fall, and for a while you couldn't walk or talk or eat solid food, but here you are recovered in so many ways. You're planning on running a 5K. Describe your journey to me.
It's been a tough journey, and sometimes I thought I would never make it, but I may never make it back to 100% self, but due to the support of friends and family, and most of all God, I'm here today and excited for what the future holds.
Excited for what the future holds. Well, we're so glad to be with you. Thank you so much for coming out here today, and congratulations on the way that you've been progressing. Now, you're both your best friends and you're Sixers fans. What are you thinking about this game tonight?
We're excited. We're excited to watch the Sixers get the job done, hopefully force a Game 7 and finish it out in New York.
All right, now, Kareem, do you think the Sixers, do you agree with Zach? Do you think the Sixers can get it done?
Absolutely, there's no doubt in my mind.
All right, well, before we go, we have a little surprise for you. We got the cheer squad here, and they have a little special announcement here. Let's see it.
You're going to Game 6 tonight!
You guys are getting tickets. You're going to the game. Dear Sixers fans, we wanted to be a part of this ticket giveaway. The 76ers ownership did a little bit of that for the community. Here we are at GMA. Kareem, Zach, cheer squad. They're going to Game 6. It's tonight. Knicks 76ers in that building there. You're going in. How's it feel? Quickly.
I can't believe it. I'm surprised. It's amazing.
You pumped?
After all this?
Fantastic.
Yeah. Come on.
Awesome.
Unbelievable.
Simple and fun right there. We'll be right back here on GMA.
We've got the exclusive view behind the table. Every day, right after the show, while the topics are still hot, the ladies go deeper into the moments that make the View the View. The Views Behind the Table podcast. Listen wherever you get your podcasts.
The first ever criminal trial of a former president is underway in Manhattan. It's one of potentially 4 trials facing former President Trump as he makes his third bid for the White House. What do voters think about his culpability, and would a guilty verdict make a difference in the election? I'm Galen Druk, and every Monday and Thursday on the 538 Politics podcast, we break down the latest news from the campaign trail. We sort through the noise and zoom in on what really matters, using data and research as we go. That's 538 Politics every Monday and Thursday, wherever you get your podcasts.
Good morning, America.
Good morning. It's great to be with you this morning. Of course, Gio, our friend there, right there, staying alive with the crew there in Atlanta.
Staying alive, but not on beat.
I don't, right? So this is a group of dancers over the age of 50. They're ready to rise and shine with us and teach Gio a few of their moves, which clearly he's going to need
Poor
this morning.
Gio, they've been working on it this morning, but still a ways to go. Plus, with 10 days until Mother's Day, Tori Johnson is here with deals and steals for mom. Also, I had 2 big headlines about menopause. We will break those down for you.
First, the top headlines breaking at 8, starting with the tensions on college campuses across the country. They have boiled over. There are more protests amid the Israel-Hamas war, prompting some violence and arrest. Trevor, all following the situation on UCLA's campus. Law enforcement in Reindeer are face-to-face with protesters. What are you seeing right now?
So, George, what we've been watching is over the past hour or so, law enforcement has really moved in here. We have all of the debris here for the barricades that the encampment had set up on the outside. Police basically meticulously tore it all apart. That was very contentious. What you have now is these lines of hundreds of CHP officers face-to-face with the encampment, arm in arm. At this point, it does appear that the encampment is spread quite thin because the perimeter set up by law enforcement continues to tighten and restrict them to the point that at one point the encampment was all the way up to the building that you can see over here. It's now been pushed in maybe 40 feet or so. Those protesters have been preparing for any kind of law enforcement tactics. They have hard hats, they have gas masks. So they've been saying that they're going to be peaceful. We haven't seen violent clashes, but you do have to anticipate that at any moment law enforcement is going to begin making a lot of arrests. These are perhaps the most intense moments we've seen of what have been many days of tense moments at campuses across the country.
Free Palestine! Free
Overnight, from coast to coast, tensions boiling over on college campuses as protests over Israel's war in Gaza grow more confrontational. This morning, at least 50 arrested during a police operation clearing the protest encampment at UCLA. This massive police presence moving in early this morning, dismantling the encampment here. The LAPD declaring a citywide tactical alert as California Highway Patrol officers in riot gear responded to the crowds, pushing back against students using batons.
We planned to keep this encampment until the university agreed to our demands.
The protesters eventually moving to the front of Powell Library, linking arms, refusing to budge, eventually taken away in zip ties one by one. It comes just one night after that pro-Palestinian encampment came under attack by pro-Israel activists. At the University of New Hampshire in Durham, pro-Palestinian protesters clashing with police in riot gear. While at Dartmouth College, police arresting 90 protesters after an order to leave an encampment. Violent clashes breaking out at the University of Wisconsin in Madison. 4 officers injured, dozens of pro-Palestinian protesters arrested. Protesters taking to the streets of New York City. The NYPD arresting nearly 300 demonstrators across the city. Police clearing out an indoor encampment at Fordham University.
If you refuse to leave, you may be placed under arrest.
Officers ordering protesters to disperse immediately, arresting at least 15 people.
And law enforcement has been firing flashbangs, and at times they've been firing less than lethal rounds. Those demonstrators have said that they don't have any weapons, and this morning as law enforcement has moved in, we've heard some of their chants, along with chanting in favor of Palestine. They have also, Palestinians, they have been chanting, "We are students, please don't shoot us." George?
Of course, but as to emphasize, you said this has not been violent yet. There's no indications at all that the police were prepared to shoot in any way.
Correct. So far, George, it has been, while it's contentious, it's mainly about the demonstrators standing their ground. You can actually see them backing up a little bit, but there have not been violent clashes, and we have not really seen anyone taken under arrest or trying to fight back against law enforcement, at least so far, George.
Trevor Ault, thanks very much, Janae.
All right, contentious but not violent. We do turn now to 2 new headlines about menopause, including new research that finds women approaching menopause may be at higher risk for depression. Rhiannon Alley is here with the details on that. Good morning, Rhiannon.
Good morning to you, Janae. The study in the Journal of Affective Disorders looked at depression and found women in midlife who were approaching the average age when perimenopause starts, around their 40s, were at a 40% greater risk of depression or having depressive symptoms compared to premenopausal women. It also found depressive symptoms were twice as common in women versus men. Now, the good news is that researchers found no associated risk of depression in women after menopause. Experts say if you are feeling signs of depression like persistent sadness, anxiety, or fatigue, you should see your healthcare provider for a complete evaluation. They suggest lifestyle changes like exercise, consuming less caffeine and sugar, getting better sleep, and quitting smoking. All of those have been found to help with depression, Janae.
Yeah, it's important, those little things that can make a big difference. And there's also another menopause-related study, Rhiannon, this one about hormone replacement therapy. Tell us about that.
I'm glad you asked, because this one might be some good news. Research published in JAMA took another look at findings that were published 20 years ago that suggested an increased risk of cancer, stroke, and heart attack with hormone therapy. Now, these findings swayed some women and even some doctors away from using hormone therapy. But now this new study found that reaction might have been overblown. So experts now say hormone therapy can be safe to treat hot flashes, trouble sleeping, and other symptoms that come with menopause for women under the age of 60. Giving many renewed hope for relief. And we know women have so much to deal with. Hopefully this can help some of them, guys.
Certainly good to be talking about this and getting it out there.
All right, now to the birthday celebration for the third in line to the British crown. Princess Charlotte turns 9 today. Her mother, Princess Kate, marked the occasion with a new photo. Foreign correspondent James Longman is at Buckingham Palace with more. James, good morning.
Yeah, good morning, Whit. Princess Charlotte turns 9 today. An official photograph was released earlier today. It shows Charlotte out in the gardens at home in Windsor, smiling. It was taken in the last few days. She is known officially as Her Royal Highness Princess Charlotte of Wales. She is the only daughter of Kate and Wills, and she is third in line to the British throne. There is a huge amount of interest in the young princess, from more formal moments, wearing matching tiaras alongside her mother at her grandfather's coronation, to more informal moments with her brothers. Her mother, Kate, says that she is, quote, the one in charge in the family, and she's said to enjoy ballet and tap dancing. But there's been a huge amount of scrutiny on the family since the revelation of Kate's cancer diagnosis. Just yesterday, Will was out and about speaking to people, and he said that the family was, quote, doing well, but we haven't had an official update on Kate's health as yet. But King Charles, he is back at work, and he was photographed holding hands with cancer patients this week. It was a poignant way for him to get back to public duties. But for the moment, happy birthday to Princess Charlotte. Guys.
Happy birthday. Okay, thanks very much, James. Coming up on our GMA Morning Menu, an exclusive with the top executive of the maker of Ozempic and Wegovy on keeping up with the demand for the drugs used for weight loss. Also questions about their cost.
Also ahead, tens of millions of people suffer from arthritis pain. We'll show you easy ways to get some relief.
Plus, Brooke Shields is here live in studio to tell us about her new movie and so much more. And Tori's got deals and steals.
Yes, I do, because Mother's Day is around the corner, so we've got great savings for all of the moms in your life, starting at just $7. Hint, Bombas.
We're back now with our GMA cover story and the drugs that have sparked a weight loss revolution. A top executive for the maker of Ozempic and Wegovy spoke exclusively with our Ariel Reshef, and Ariel's here with more. Good morning.
Good morning to you, Whit. We talked about everything from the surging demand for their medications to frustration over high prices and shortages that many Americans are seeing.
This morning, the maker of the wildly popular weight loss drugs Ozempic and Wegovy speaking exclusively to ABC News.
We recognize that the demand definitely is outpacing the supply that we have.
Novo Nordisk now announcing it is investing $6.5 billion to ramp up production. It says there's enough product to start 25,000 new patients on Wegovy per week, a 4 times increase over the end of last year. But there are still shortages.
How do you catch up with the demand?
So it's not like a light switch. The strategy is to be very mindful and thoughtful about the amount of the lower doses that we're putting into the market. And I think that over time, the investments that we're making in manufacturing capabilities will ensure that over time we're able to meet that demand.
About 80% of patients are seeing Wegovy covered by insurance, with an average monthly cost around $25. But the average out-of-pocket cost, if you don't have insurance, can be as high as $1,000, something a Senate committee is investigating.
The Senate committee is asking your company to substantially reduce both the list price and the net price for these drugs. And of course, Americans are asking the same thing of you. Is your company willing to commit to that?
We agree that these medications need to be more affordable. That's a stake that we've put in the ground.
But you can assure Americans that you're working day in and day out to reduce the cost of these medications and make them more accessible.
I can absolutely assure America that we're doing everything that we can, not only to reduce cost and out of pocket in a way that is consistent with the healthcare system that we have in the U.S., but also to increase supply. Our manufacturing facilities are working 24/7. The plan that we had to be thoughtful and certainly responsible, but also to increase access to this medication by releasing more of those lower doses, allowing more new patients to start, is something that we'll continue to work on.
And Novo says it is working with insurance companies to bring down the cost of these drugs and with lawmakers to have them covered by Medicare for obesity. When I asked where the revenue from all these medications goes, Morris said that Novo is investing in research and innovation to develop new medicines and even a unit dedicated to preventing obesity altogether. Imagine a world where obesity could be prevented. Guys,
wow.
New landscape.
Drugs are so powerful.
They are.
Thank you, Ariel. Let's turn now and check the weather with Ginger. Ginger.
Thanks, Whit. You know, we started with all the tornadoes, the damaging wind, and Texas have seen it all, but also the flash flooding, and that's really the concern for Houston and so many other parts of southeast Texas. Houston itself in a flood watch till 1 p.m. tomorrow. This is the risk of seeing flash flooding. It actually goes all the way up to Cedar Rapids, Iowa, but it is focused there with the highest threat in southeast Texas, where we could easily see a widespread 3 to 5 inches and locally 6 to 9.
Here now with our friend Brooke Shields, actress, model, best-selling author, now starring the new romantic comedy Mother of the Bride. Welcome back. Great to see you.
Thank you.
I should have added producer. You're the producer of this as well.
I am. It allows me to know what's really going on.
Tell us about the story.
The story is about a woman who's a single mom whose daughter surprises her and says she's getting married, and it's a destination wedding. And when I get there, I realize she's marrying the son of the man who broke my heart.
Oh, my goodness.
Yes, it's a perfect rom-com. And we don't know how it ends.
Let's see a clip.
Remember the last time we had a day off with nothing to do?
Sophomore year.
When we got to campus the day before classes started.
We bought a keg using Lana's fake ID, and then we drove to Santa Cruz in Will's van.
Oh my God.
Can you believe I actually had a van?
Can you believe I had a fake ID?
Yes. You know, at the south end of the resort, there's a beautiful beach you can walk to at low tide.
Is anyone thinking what I'm thinking?
Pretty spectacular location you filmed in Thailand.
I was there for almost 3 months, and it was unbelievable in Thailand. It sort of harkened back to what I remember like movie making was, like Blue Lagoon or whatever. We were all just concentrated in one area, and we had to kind of become a family. It was really fun.
And it's a pretty good cast.
It's a beautiful cast. I mean, Miranda Cosgrove is so lovely and so sweet. And I mean, Benjamin Bratt, come on, Chad Michael Murray, literally McDonald, Winston. It was so lucky. I felt so lucky to be able to be in that environment.
I know you've resisted playing pickleball, but they got you on the court.
They did. They got me on the court, and then they had us have intense lessons. So I was under the impression that I was a good player, because it was all based on getting it to the shot until I came home and I played against Chris and realized I wasn't really that good a player.
So you're going to keep it up for now, is this it?
I kind of would like to. My knees actually are good with it.
I want to show everybody, you recently shared this throwback on Instagram. It's been 17 years since you were Miley Cyrus's mom on Hannah Montana. Now, is it true that your oldest, Rowan, who is a fantastic intern here at GMA, I should add that she had an issue with this?
She was a baby, and she was in the audience, and I call Miley my baby girl, and Rowan stood up in the audience and said, "No, she's my mama for real life." And she was incensed, and Miley was very sweet. She brought her. That was when you filmed in front of a live audience back in the day, and she brought her down onto the stage and said, "We're just playing pretend. Thank you for letting me borrow your mama." It was very, very sweet. It made a huge impression on my daughter.
And now you're about to join Allie and I in Empty Nestum.
I'm usually crying in your kitchen about this. So just get ready, George. Get ready. I'm going to be crying. You think you're ready for it, and then people say, "Oh, you're going to have freedom." I don't know. I'm not really prepared.
The good news is they come back. They don't go too far, right?
No, it's like a rubber band, right? They definitely, and our girls are so close to us. Yours are, mine are. They're attached in the right way.
Of course, we worked together on the documentary Pretty Baby. It came out about a year ago. What's the experience been like? Because you've gotten so much attention for it since it came out.
You know what's been the most sort of gratifying, is that people are moved by the story for a myriad of different reasons. So it's not just my story. It's about women in America. It's about the sexualization. You know, we talked about this. It's about their experience, and I'm just the conduit to it. So it's been very fulfilling to me because it's moved people.
Thanks for coming in today.
Thank you.
Mother Bride streaming now, May 9th on Netflix. Let's go to Janae.
All right, fun conversation, George. It is time now for Deals and Steals, and Tori Johnson is here with 7 fabulous Mother's Day gifts starting as low as $7.
Yes.
All right.
We're gonna start right here.
Let's get started with Bombas.
Mama loves Bombas. The whole family loves Bombas. Mama does love Bombas. So we've got their Comfort Premium Basics for everybody. This is a company also that Mom loves because it has a heart. For every item they sell, they donate one to someone in need. They're already up to over 100 million items donated to people in need in this country. So today's a day to stock up for the whole family on their socks. We've got all the different styles for men, women, and kids. Plus, also for Mom, we brought the tees and the bottoms.
There we go.
These are all half price starting at $7. As you said, the $7. Okay. Making their deals debut. Elizabeth Arden. I'm so excited about this because we've got their ceramide serum capsules. So these tiny tiny little capsules right here. And the best part about capsules is potency, purity, precision. Just the right amount. When you see this is enough amount for face, neck, and neck, the whole area. You could do everything with just this. And usually we put on too much. And so this helps us with having just the right amount. We've got a variety of different types depending on your skin concerns. There's retinol, which is their fan favorite, obviously, for lines and wrinkles. Hyaluronic acid, that's going to plump and hydrate skin. There's an advanced ceramide, that's the one that you and I are holding to firm and nourish. And what I love about this is that it's travel friendly, easy to use, and you can just incorporate this as a serum step right into your own routine. So don't give up whatever you're doing. Add this in. Everything slash in half starts at $14.
Oh,
it's a good one to get in on today.
These are so cute.
They are so cute. They were an Oprah favorite. This is wonderful. And what's great about it is you get to put your own water bottle right into this bag to carry it without worrying about it spilling or messing up your own bag.
Right.
2 pockets here to allow you to put like credit card, keys, cash, passport, whatever it is that you're hauling around. You can wear it crossbody style. They've got a variety of different styles. The colors are fabulous. Adds a little pop for spring. These are slashed in half, starting at $19.
All right.
Toga towel. I'm really excited about this.
A towel and a wrap all in one.
It's a towel, wrap, robe all in one. Super luxurious fabric. Wraps around your body. Then that one arm slips in there so that you never have a towel slip. So you can do everything in this. Make the coffee, help the kids get ready, put on your makeup, blow dry your hair, and the towel stays in place. Plus, it's a quick drying, luxurious fabric that we love. This is one that every woman in your life's gonna want. These are 50% off. They're $35.
Go ahead and get them.
All right.
Okay,
now,
popcorn, movie, theater popcorn at home.
Yes. So this is Pop Smith making their deals debut. That's fresh from one of these poppers just made. It's a stainless steel popper that, first of all, looks gorgeous on your countertop. Plus, they make these really awesome popcorn kits that are fabulous because it's precision, small batch, just like they kind of thought of everything for you. I love these. I think you guys are going to love these too. The kits today are 50% off. Plus, they're beautiful.
Cute.
Yep, and works on any type of stovetop as well. Okay.
Heart-shaped pillows.
Demco. So what I love about this is, look at this right here. This is a weighted heart. So when you just like need a little hug, need a little love, need a little stress relief, that's going to be there for you. It's kind of like sending a bit of love and comfort in the mail. And then we also have their giving shawl. Feel how soft that is. It's a very generous cut that kind of fits around the whole body. This is great to have whether you're at work, at home, sitting on the couch, sitting at your desk, or to keep in the car. It's also really great for travel because it folds up so nicely. This is I love this because it's like gifting love. These are slash and half. They start at $19.
All right.
You want to hang on to that?
Yeah,
exactly.
it's
so
giving.
Soft. All right,
roses. Straight from the
farmers. Can't go wrong with long stem roses. Ooh. So with this, you get 24 long stem roses. Okay. We've got rose, peach, or white, or there's an option online for mixed. What I love about long stem roses is that there's so much option to kind of make them your own. So you can keep them in a vase like this, where you can keep them long. You can cut them short. This is my preference style. These are fabulous. Again, 2 dozen, $40, and free shipping from Rose Farmers. Plus, we got a lot of bonus deals online as well.
Look at that. There's no reason to forget about Mom this Mother's Day, and we have partnered with all these companies on all these amazing deals. Go to goodmorningamerica.com to find all of these offers. And coming up, we're rising and shining in Atlanta. Gio is there with the Stand Alive dance crew. Stick around.
Look who Robin's hanging with this Wednesday on GMA.
Elmo! Hi there!
Miss Robin! When Elmo asked, how's everyone doing? Elmo went viral with over 217 million views and counting. And now, Elmo's with Robin, checking in on you, America.
Miss Robin, Elmo is so glad that you came to visit Elmo on Sesame Street.
Wednesday on
Good Morning, America! You heard Elmo! Woohoo!
Well, Welcome back to GMA. We are also glad that Robin went to Sesame Street for Mental Health Awareness Month. That post from Elmo sparked a really important conversation. We're going to keep it going next week.
Yeah, we are looking forward to that. Right now, it's time to go back to Rise and Shine Atlanta this morning. Gio is in the suburb of Sandy Springs with a big group of dancers showing him a step or two. Hey, Gio.
Hey, George. Yes, we are here in Sandy Springs, and this is the Staying Alive crew. And let me tell you something. They are the definition of Rise and Shine this morning. They are all dancers over the age of 50, but don't get it twisted because they've got an ageless spirit. Take a look at this. For the dancers in the Staying Alive crew, age is just a number.
5, 6, 7, and 8. Many young people, they think we're a bunch of little old ladies coming to try to dance. And then when the music breaks out and we start to dance, their jaws drop. They cannot believe we can move like 20-year-olds.
Atlanta native twin sisters Jeanette Hinton and Josette Perez, along with friend Connie Korb, founded the crew in 2018. The women wanted to build community with others over 50 years old.
We wanted to have fun and we wanted to exercise, keeping our bodies and minds healthy. Then we came up with the name Staying Alive Crew because we wanted to stay alive as long as we could.
The group has become an Atlanta favorite, performing at more than 60 events a year, at center court for halftime at an Atlanta Hawks game, and events that give back to their community.
We do a lot of charity events to help raise money, but our favorite thing is to do senior homes. We go to senior homes and we perform, and then we play games with them, and they really appreciate us coming in.
What started out as 12 dancers has grown to more than 60 between the ages of 50 and 75. They call themselves a dance family.
Let me just be real clear that these women don't need men to beef things up. They're quite capable on their own, but the environment and the attitudes from everybody is so welcoming.
I can't imagine myself not dancing or not being involved with these ladies in some way or another.
For members Ann Kopich and Tony Hayes, it's a second act through movement.
If you had told me that at 58 years old I would be in a hip-hop dance group, I would have laughed several years ago. I would have said, yeah, I'm going to break a hip and hop off the floor.
I've always danced all my life, and now here I am at 67 still dancing. Who says you have to stop?
Good morning, America!
I mean, how can you not love them already, right? Okay, so joining me here is Josette Perez, the founder of the group. We've also got Penny Davis, one of the dancers. Welcome to you both.
Thank you for having us.
Absolutely. Okay, so Josette, you founded this, it was about 5 years ago. So what was your goal with this?
Well, my twin sister and I and some other girls decided we wanted to have a group where we're going to have fun, dance. We want to have it to be nonprofit to give back to the community, and we want it to stay alive.
And you're giving back so much of that. You're giving so much joy to so many people here in this community. Penny, tell me, because you started dancing here, 2 years ago?
I did, yes.
What's it done for you, being part of this crew?
Well, you mentioned joy,
Yeah.
and that is how I feel too. Pure joy to be able to dance with teammates like this, and hopefully go out into the community and spread that joy, spread that energy, and inspire others to do the same. Go after your dreams, go after your passions. Passions have no boundaries, and make the last part of your life or the rest of your life the best part of your life.
I love that. Passions have no boundaries.
Absolutely.
You made an exception for me. I'm a little too young for this, but I got the Staying Alive shirt.
Yep.
You promised to teach me a few moves.
I'm going to teach you a few moves.
Okay, all right. Let's hit the music. Let's see.
Okay.
What do we got?
All right, Gio, I need a cool pose.
Okay.
I need more swagger than Michael Strahan.
Oh, I don't know about that.
Okay.
I don't know.
All right, here we go.
Okay.
We're going to go left, right, roll, and down.
Okay.
Gio, that did not count as you doing that dance.
She avoided the camera at every move.
That was real smooth.
You've been on me all morning long.
Gio, I never make fun of anybody's dancing. I make that a rule. Coming up, best-selling author Carly Fortune is here to talk about her new book.
We are back now on GMA, and this morning is one for the books because we have #1 New York Times bestselling author Carly Fortune here to talk about her latest novel, This Summer Will Be Different, just in time for your next vacation read. Carly's here. Good morning. It's great to see you.
Oh, it's so wonderful to be here.
An exciting time. The book is coming out in just a few days.
Yes.
So let's talk about it. It's kind of a story of a forbidden summer fling.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
This is about Lucy, who travels to Prince Edward Island on vacation for the first time. And she meets a very charming oyster shucker named Felix. And they have let's say a memorable night together, only to find out the next morning that he is her best friend's younger brother.
Ooh.
And very off limits. And they promise it's never going to happen ever again, except every time Lucy returns to the island with her best friend, she cannot stay away from Felix. Until this summer, her best friend flees to Prince Edward Island days before her wedding, needs Lucy to come out there, and Lucy is determined once and for all to keep her distance from Felix and focus on her friend. And of course, that proves very difficult. So it's a romance, but it's also a love story between Lucy and her best friend.
Complicated in so many ways.
Yes.
I have to ask you about this. It's so interesting. So Prince Harry and Meghan bought the rights to your bestseller, Meet Me at the Lake.
Yeah.
I know that much of that project is top secret. It's under wraps. But what was that conversation like? There was like a Zoom call with them?
I had a Zoom with Meghan and Tracy Ryerson, who heads up scripted content at Archwell. It was surreal and also just wonderful. I felt like I was in the best possible hands. It was a wonderful conversation.
All right, if you could pick your dream cast.
Yeah.
For again, we don't know, film, series, whatever it might be. Who would the cast members be?
Well, Will is a very tall, dark-haired, complicated guy. I feel like Jacob Elordi is kind of a natural Will. Fern is like prickly on the outside, but has a heart of gold. I'm kind of obsessed with the idea of Zendaya as playing in a romance lead, maybe Florence Pugh. But I have to tell you my dream casting. There are two characters named Maggie and Peter, and what I really want is to reunite Canadian sweethearts Rachel McAdams and Ryan Gosling on the screen
there you
in
go.
those roles.
You heard it right here on Good Morning America for the very first time.
Rachel,
so
Ryan.
the plea is out.
Yeah, it's out there.
We'll see how it all comes together. So I want to talk about this special place of yours because you do a lot of your writing at a college by the lake, or at a cottage by the lake.
Cottage, yeah.
And why is this so personal to you and important in terms of your process and how you write?
Yeah, so I grew up on the water in Barry's Bay, which is where my first book, Every Summer After, is set. And my parents sold that house, but every year my family and I go back and we rent a cottage by the water. And I feel so nostalgic being there. And the place we have, it's got no Wi-Fi, no TV. And I just stare at the water, and it's where I get my best ideas. It's where I've started all of my books, and it's kind of the place of my soul.
No distractions, right?
Well, just the kids,
yeah,
you know.
the kids, of course.
Never mind them.
Yeah. Exactly. And you use the same artist, right, for the covers of all three books.
Yes.
So what is it, your connection with this artist?
Yeah, her name is Elizabeth Lenny, and she is also Canadian, and her paintings are very much inspired by cottage country, and her last two covers she did for me, for Meet Me at the Lake and This Summer Will Be Different, were originals to the book. The Meet Me at the Lake cover was based on a photo I took at the cottage where we stay, and she just captures the romance and nostalgia of the book so well.
Well, we do have some viewer and fan questions from social media, so we want to see if we have time. We're going to get to a few of these here. The first one comes from Emmy. What advice would you give aspiring romance authors?
So my advice used to be, in order to write a book, you have to write a book. There's no trick to it. You just have to sit down and do it, unfortunately. But it's changed. And I think it's to protect your mental health, because writing is full of self-doubt and challenges, and anything you can do to protect your mindset and your creativity, do it.
Okay, love that. All right, this one comes from Kathy.
Okay.
Anything you can tell us about the book you're working on now? So not the one that's about to come out in a few days, but a
my fourth book. Yeah, I just submitted my second draft. It is, I can't say much, but it is a summary love story. It will be out next year, and I'm loving working on it. It's so fun.
All right, Carly Fortune, it's such a pleasure meeting you. Thanks so much for coming in.
Thanks.
And remember, the book, The Summer Will Be Different, is available everywhere on next Tuesday. Thanks again. Ginger, over to you.
Whit, Carly had me at Prince Edward Island and a handsome oyster shucker. I'm reading. It's on. Thank you so much. And it is that time of the year again. The Westminster Kennel Club Dog Show is back. Take a look at last year's Best in Show. Buddy Holly. Well, we'll have this year's winner right here in Times Square on Wednesday, May 15th. The 2024 Westminster Kennel Club Dog Show takes place on May 13th and 14th.
And now to the first look at a new documentary on Nicole Brown Simpson. Back in the headlines with the recent passing of O.J. Simpson. Lifetime's The Life and Murder of Nicole Brown Simpson premieres June 1st. Take a look.
Who is Nicole? Who is she? Because she got lost in this whole thing.
She wasn't a headline of a tragedy. She was so much more.
Her children missed out, her family missed out on the woman that she was becoming.
We are here to vindicate her. Don't get in our way.
I honestly believe that this world does not know who Nicole Brown was.
Mommy, what are you?
A Lifetime 2-night documentary event, The Life and Murder of Nicole Brown Simpson, premieres Saturday, June 1st and 2nd at 8, only on Lifetime.
And Diane Sawyer will be sitting down with Nicole's family later this month. And still coming up, it's National Arthritis Awareness Month. We have some great ways that could offer some relief for those aching joints. Stick around.
We are back with National Arthritis Awareness Month. More than 90 million adults in the U.S. either have arthritis or joint symptoms consistent with arthritis. This segment is sponsored by Aleve, and the company's spokesperson, personal trainer Rick Ritchie, is here, along with their CEO of the Arthritis Foundation, Steve Taylor. So happy to have you both.
Good morning.
We will get to some exercises because I know you're a personal trainer, but let's do this first.
Sure.
Steve, tell me, tens of millions of people deal with arthritis, but it doesn't just have to be of one age.
Exactly. So 1 in 5 adults in the U.S. have a form of arthritis, and there's over 100 forms of arthritis, and it's not just your grandmother's arthritis.
Right.
It affects all ages. And so the Arthritis Foundation is here for their journey, no matter where they are in their diagnosis, either the beginning of diagnosis or they've had the disease 10 years and need to have resources or tools to deal with their pain and the symptoms of their arthritis. So the Arthritis Foundation is there for them.
I was going to say, I'm sure it's endless what your foundation does. What else do they provide for people with arthritis?
So the Arthritis Foundation was founded 75 years ago with the patient as the center of our organization. And our mission is twofold: Pathway to a Cure, which talks about treatments and scientific advancements to make sure we're unlocking the mystery of the various forms of arthritis, and then Pathway to Improved Quality of Life, which is why we're here today with Aleve to talk about movement and how we can get patients living the life that they want to live, being able to say yes to more things and no to less things, and be able to overcome their disease as best as they can. And so the Arthritis Foundation has tools and resources for them for that.
Thank you. Now, Rick, I know you've got a very helpful acronym that can help us to learn what to do if you suffer with arthritis.
Yeah, it's a fun, quick, easy to remember thing for people with arthritis or joint pain. It is MEATS, M-E-A-T-S. So the M is for movement, your activities of daily living. Keep doing what you're doing. E is for exercise, so maintain or increase your fitness level. A is for analgesics, which is a big word just to make the acronym work for pain relief. So you can take medications such as NSAIDs that will help with that. And then T is for therapy. So physical therapy, massage therapy, self-therapy, where you're using different tools to help loosen up your muscles. And then finally, S is for stretch. So loosen up some tight muscles with that as well.
Well, I love the analgesis because it taught me something. How do we balance? Because that's a lot altogether. How do we balance those?
Well, that's a great point. So I am working and partnering with Aleve to help to encourage people to start their morning with movement. All right, so starting with movement, I see it in my clients that maybe have arthritis or joint pain. And so we use those tips, the MEATS tips, to keep them moving and feeling their best.
And it was intentional to put movement first.
Correct, yeah, and that's exactly right. But I also want to stress the importance that in addition to movement, that pain relief may be a necessary option for some people. And so I personally use Aleve, and I will, when used as directed, recommend it to other clients or people that I work with, because it is the only branded OTC that provides up to 12 hours of uninterrupted pain relief with just one pill, and it helps me move and feel and function better, and I move a lot, so it's very helpful.
Okay, so you have some moves for us that people can try, whether they have arthritis or not, but this is very helpful. So go ahead and show us.
I will, and contrary to popular perceptions, movement is very good for people with joint and pain issues. So we're going to do a little bit of movement. If this bothers your knees, don't do this. If any of it bothers you, don't do it. We're going to do something called cat-cow. And remember that we do this to loosen up the joints, provide lubrication to the joints. Motion is lotion. So cat-cow, we're going to arch the back.
Nice.
And then
so good.
go into the other direction. So this creates a little bit of movement, lubricate the joints and the spine, and it can help. Now,
and then
only
the second one, this one's big, right?
Correct, yeah. So I like this one. This is called a bridge walkout. So you lift up into a bridge. You get a nice stretch here. So we're incorporating stretching into our movements. And then try to minimize any shift in your waist and just walk out and walk back up.
That one is really hard. And finally, we're a little tighter on time, so I want to make sure that get this in. Lunge with a twist?
A lunge with a twist. So we're going to go into a lunge position, rotate, lunge, and rotate.
It's great for balance, too.
It is great for balance. If it's hard on your balance, hold on to something.
Great. Rick, Steve, thank you both for being here. I know you've helped a lot of people. And to learn more about these moves and getting relief from arthritis, head to GMA's Instagram and Facebook pages. We will be right back. Thanks again.
Thank you.
GMA's Relief Report is sponsored by Aleve. Just one Aleve, 12 hours of uninterrupted pain relief.
Monday on GMA, don't look down.
Just wait until you see what we do from the top of the Empire State Building. It's never been done before.
103 floors above the streets of New York City.
I'm going to be way up there, and you won't believe what I'm doing.
The historic live event drops Monday.
Live on GMA.
Janae's exactly right. We are going to prepare that promo. We do not want to use the word drop in that promo. Gio, are you ready?
I am so ready. Hopefully it's a lot better than my dancing, though. We'll see how that goes.
He's already talked to the most famous psychic medium in the country.
Oh, yeah.
Who said he's going to be just fine.
And he's getting his life insurance policy in order, too. But hey, Gio, before we let you go, you and the Staying Alive crew in Atlanta, thank you so much for putting in the moves for us this morning. They're still going.
Go ahead, Gio. We'll give you another shot.
Shot at redemption.
Take us away, Gio. You got it. All right.
There it is.
Have a great day.
That's pretty good.
Step into the world of Hollywood like never before with Melissa Rivers' Group Text podcast. Melissa, renowned for her red carpet expertise and storytelling prowess, invites you to join her and her famous friends for hilarious and heartfelt conversations. From discussing the latest binge-worthy TV shows, navigating the highs and lows of life, and dissecting celebrity fashion, there is never a dull moment. With exclusive stories from special guests like Chelsea Handler, Cheryl Hines, your favorite reality stars, and deep dives into intriguing topics like the Where is Wendy Williams documentary, this podcast offers an insider's look into the glitz and glam of Tinseltown. It's not just Melissa's podcast. It's a collective experience where you're invited to join the conversation. So, if you've ever wanted a peek behind the Hollywood curtain, subscribe to Melissa Rivers' Group Text podcast, now on your favorite platform. Get ready for laughter, tears, gossip. In other words, unforgettable moments that'll keep you coming back for more. Don't miss out. This is one group text you won't want to exit.